So here we have another example. We want to add these two, and what we want to do is get a common denominator. Okay, well, how do we do that? Well, again, we have to get the LCD. Now notice the first is already factored. X squared plus 5 is irreducible because we're not considering complex numbers here. Let's see if we can factor the second one, second denominator, that is. So we have x squared plus 8 times x plus 12. There we go. Okay, so again, for this, we want two numbers whose product is 12 and whose sum happens to be 8. Okay, what two numbers are going to pull that off? Well, 6 and 2. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 plus 2 is 8. So boom, we're good. So we have x plus 6 times x plus 2. So now we have the denominators factored. Okay, so what would the LCD be? Well, the irreducible factors, let me see if I can write it out. The irreducible factors, those are going to be, we have x squared plus 5, we have x plus 6, we have x plus 2. Okay, now what about the exponents? Well, notice all the exponents are 1. So the LCD here, it's actually pretty easy then. It's just the product. So we get x times x squared plus 5 times x plus 6 times x plus 2. So that's our LCD here. So here's our LCD. Okay, so now we're going to manipulate each rational expression so that the common denominator is the LCD. So we have 1 plus x. We have x times x squared plus 5. Okay. And now what we're going to do is multiply the top and bottom by, let me change colors here, x plus 6, see if I can get this to work, times x plus 2. And on top we have x plus 6 times x plus 2. So we're going to end up with 1 plus x times x plus 6 times x plus 2 all over the common denominator of x times x squared plus 5 times x plus 6 times x plus 2. There we go. So now below it, we're going to have 3 minus x. And now below it, we have x squared plus 8x plus 12, which we factored as x plus, almost wrote x squared, as x plus 6 times x plus 2. So now we have to multiply. To get a common denominator, we're going to multiply by x times x squared plus 5. And on top, we're going to have x times x squared plus 5. And what do we get? Well, we're going to get 3 minus x. Sorry, wrong color. There we go. We have 3 minus x times x squared plus 5 all over x plus 6 times x plus 2 times x squared plus 5. So now we rewrote each of these fractions so the denominators both equal the LCD, and now let's add them. Okay, so we're going to add these now. We're going to have x plus 1 times x plus 6 times x plus 2 all over x times x squared plus 5 times x plus 6, x plus 2, plus 3 minus x times x squared plus 5. And we're all dividing by x times x squared plus 5 times x plus 2, x plus 6. Now, what is that numerator going to be? Well, let's see. So now we combine to get x plus 1 times x plus 6 times x plus 2 plus 3 minus x times x squared plus 5, all divided by x times x squared plus 5 times x plus 6 times x plus 2. We'll stop here because this looks very complicated, but basically this is what you're going to get, and it does illustrate how you add rational expressions. Okay? So that's how you add them. So here's another example, but here we're going to subtract. Okay, so let's get the least common denominator. Well, here it's actually pretty easy, right? Because the factors of the denominator are x minus 1, x plus 2, and the only exponents are 1 for each one. So because of that, the LCD is simply going to be x minus 1 times x plus 2. So that's pretty easy. Okay, so now let's manipulate to get a common denominator. So we have x over x minus 1, right? Minus, again, we have x squared plus 1 over x plus 2. So what we're going to do for the first one is we have to multiply top and bottom by x plus 2. And so we get this. And for the second one, we have to multiply top and bottom by x minus 1, like so. Okay, that's good. Now we end up with x times x plus 2 all over x minus 1 times x plus 2. And again, we're subtracting x squared plus 1 times x minus 1 all over x plus 2 times x minus 1. And now we can combine numerators. And we're going to get, let me just put an equal sign there, x times x plus 2 minus x squared plus 1 times x minus 1. And this is all divided by the LCD, which is x minus 1 times x plus 2. Okay, so this is not bad. So let's now multiply, actually carry out the multiplication in the numerator. We're going to have x squared plus 2x minus, notice you want to use parentheses because we have a minus here, which is why I'm going to use parentheses. So we have x cubed minus x squared plus x minus 1, all divided by x minus 1 times x plus 2. Okay, that's good. And so we get x squared plus 2x. Distribute that negative, we get negative x cubed plus x squared minus x plus 1. all divided by x minus 1 times x plus 2. And so this will give us, combining like terms, we have negative x cubed plus 2x squared plus x plus 1 all over x minus 1 times x plus 2. Well, that's good. So let's just leave it like this as our final answer. So we may not have simplified, but this is far enough for now.